In sport, for hundreds of journalists from around the world covering G20 summit in Johannesburg, the media center has been operating in full force. Rahmat Idris brings us details from Johannesburg. So Rahmat Idris, tell us, has the media center of G20 lived up to the expectation for you?
Well, hi there, Uli. It has indeed lived up to our expectations. As a matter of fact, it far exceeded our expectations. As you said, in less than 48 hours, the city of Johannesburg is going to be inundated by the arrivals of world leaders flying into the city from different parts of the globe. And it is worth noting that all the actions will take place at the so-called Johannesburg Expo Center, or NASREC, on the 22nd to the 23rd of November 2025. And now, Uli, this particular venue of NASREC bears something of such a significance to the South Africans. Dating back to the 1980s, to the time of its establishment, this particular venue or a structure of NASREC, which stands for National Arts, Sports and Recreation Center, or NASRECs, bear the testament to the dark times of apartheid here in South Africa. To the local peoples that we spoke to, a couple of them, we visited the venue yesterday. It said that NASREC embodies the true spirit where once the division stood and now unity rises, and where once exclusion was intact and now inclusion is in. And thus this is such a perfect venue for all the world leaders to convene and to deliberate on some of the most important, significant issues that the global world is currently facing. And another important thing that we need to note ahead of the upcoming summit here in the city of Johannesburg is the fact that this particular event this year bears a significant meaning to the South Africans as well, because not only it marks the first time for South Africa to become the proud host of G20 summit, but it is also the first time for the African soil, for the continent of Africa, to hold such deliberations, meaning that there's going to be eyes being paid attention and looking very closely to the scrutiny of the outcomes, the deliverables of the G20 Leaders Summit to unfold in just the matter of days here in the city. And now, this is the first time last year for South Africa, and thus very central theme has been picked by President Cyril Ramaphosa throughout his leadership in the presidency of G20 South Africa this year, which is solidarity, equality, and sustainability. And as a matter of fact, the theme solidarity embodies the very core principle of South Africans, which is the main focus in the so-called of Ubuntu, which means I am because we are. And this truly is embodied into all of the missions and objectives that the presidency of South Africa has been carrying through towards the years, to establish all of these solidarity in between the nations of the G20 member states and also the members beyond the G20, essentially global communities. And now we also pay close attention to the special remarks, special address that was delivered by President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, a while back, which is paying very close scrutiny and emphasizing on the core principles that South African presidency of the G20 is carrying out throughout the year. For one, he is bringing forth to the table of discussions the fact that all of the member states of the G20 within the Group 20 needs to establish a robust green economy, and that is essentially low carbon economy. And he also addressed the significance of these countries to come together to address all of the challenges pertaining to the climate change issues, and in particular all of the disaster around the world caused and related to the climate change. And under the initiative that is championed by South Africa, Uli, President Cyril Ramaphosa is pushing towards the collection of 1 0.3 trillion US dollars for climate funding for developing economies. Essentially, you can address all the challenges in Indonesia, India, Brazil, and now for the last turn for the vibrant economies to host the G20 summits at South Africa. And also to note the fact that in the past couple of days, we've seen all the finals agenda concluding here in South Africa. And by today, the 20th November 2025, we see the social summit concluding today. We are going to take a look at how the Business 20 or the B20 concluding today. And more importantly, behind closed doors, all the deliberations pertaining to the leaders' declaration. Now, this is something that all the world leaders will be reading out loud as the main outcome of the presidency of South Africa for the G20 this year. And Uli, a few hours from now, we're going to be heading to Saxon Hotel here in Sandton, Johannesburg, South Africa, where we are going to be attending the rehearsal for the arrival of Vice President of the Republic of Indonesia, Gibran Rakabuming Raka, who is here in place of President Prabowo Subianto. So we look forward to what Indonesia is carrying for the table of the G20 Leaders Summit. In the meantime, we are going to be here all the way through, Uli, to the 23rd of November 2025. We're going to bring you all the details and, more importantly, the important outcomes from the summit. And from Johannesburg, South Africa, and that concludes our reports. I'm Rahmat Idris, and our camera person, Danu Dirja Mukti for TVR World. Uli, back to you in our studio.
Thank you for the report, Rahmat Idris, TVRI World from Johannesburg.